Hey everyone, welcome back to Caitlin's Corner. Today we are talking about azaleas, those stunning, colorful shrubs that will brighten up your garden. So whether this is your first time trying or you're just trying to keep yours thriving and healthy, I've got you covered. Let's dig in. So today I will be planting both in ground and in a container. We have the Nuccio's Happy Days azalea here that is in shrub form. And we have this beautiful standard that is a no name. So if you know what azalea variety it is, please leave me a comment down below. I tried looking it up, but I could not find it. But it is a gorgeous white a double white flower with really ruffly pink margins, and it's just a stunner. Both of them really are. I love the magenta color on this Happy Days one. It is also a double flowering azalea as well. So today I will be planting both in ground and in a pot so that you can see the different ways that you can grow these. We will be planting this in the landscape. This beauty right here, it's on this standard form braided trunk, which is really beautiful, and we'll be planting this one up in a pot. So let's get into our talk about azaleas. So the typical azalea that people know is the evergreen azalea. Both of these stay evergreen. However, there are deciduous varieties of azaleas. So depending upon your climate and what you're looking for, you can make that choice between the two. Azaleas love dappled sunlight. So what that means is your best bet for planting these is going to be under the shade of a tree where sun can filter straight through and cast a little bit of brightness to them, but they definitely do not want a direct sunlight situation, especially in that hot afternoon. So you could get away with a morning sun type situation where they get probably 3 to 4 hours in the morning and then have a nice cooling respite for the rest of the day. The best time to plant these, just like with most plants, it's going to be early spring or fall. That way you give the plant plenty of time to build an extensive, healthy root system without swings of extreme temperatures of hot or cold. Azaleas are typically a zone 6 to 10, but that depends upon the variety that you are working with. For reference, I'm in Orange County, California, which is a zone 10B. So for today's project, we have these two beautiful varieties of azalea. This is the Nuccio's Happy Days azalea, and this is a no-name azalea that I picked up at Armstrong Garden Center. I am sure we could find out the name of it, but it is really beautiful on a braided trunk formed into this really nice kind of standard form as opposed to this that is in its typical shrub form. Both are beautiful colors. So as you can see, this bed here is pretty sparse. There are a few plants here and there, but it is needing some evergreen interest, which is exactly why I'm going to be planting the Nuccio's Happy Days azalea here in this bed. So this bed gets morning sun. The sun rises over here on my left and then sets over to my right. It does get shade from the most hot part of the day, and the reason for that is over to my right we have a gold medallion tree, and it casts a plethora of shade over in this area, which makes it perfect for a plant like this azalea. Now, some of the other plants that we have in this bed are a plumeria, which does want a lot of sun. When it is in bloom and the leaves are on it, it casts a lot of shade in this area. There is also a queen palm casting some shade in this area as well. We have some alstroemeria here that is in a really pretty purple color called Mulan, which I will show you a picture on the screen. We have some surefire white begonias that take sun and shade, and it is the perfect plant for this spot because of that. And here in our zone, it is a evergreen, so you will constantly have that pretty begonia foliage year round, and you can see it kind of pop throughout this bed. We will be adding more because it is perfect for this area. There's also some hellebores right over here to my right, and then just past them there are some mondo grass as well. Now, right next to me is a camellia from Nuccio's called Jerry Donnan. It is absolutely a stunner. And because we are amending the soil here for this camellia, I think that this azalea is going to love it as well. And what a better way to honor Nuccio's than to have their growing product literally right next to each other. It's going to look so pretty. So this plant here grows 6 feet tall by 5 feet wide, meaning that it's going to grow about 2 feet on center, forward, backward, and side to side. So it's going to fill in this space absolutely perfectly. And like I said, get about 6 feet tall. My goal is for it to spill out through this plumeria so that in the winter time, not only is this space filled, but it kind of hides some of the stickiness of the plumeria. The perfect backdrop for it is going to be this camellia that is also going to get relatively large, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 feet tall and 5 to 6 feet wide or so. But both of these can be pruned so that they are not impeding on each other. Personally, I like a really full, tight garden bed, so I'm really excited to have these grow right next to each other and kind of become this whimsical force growing into each other. So let's get planting. What we're going to do is dig the hole about double the depth of this pot and double the width of this pot. At that point, I will add in some of the camellia azalea potting soil just to amend the soil. And then I will also be adding the fertilizer as well, a good handful, and then we'll get her all planted. So I think that is going to look really pretty right there. Eventually we'll put some sort of probably like a taller grass, like a medium-sized grass or some sort of plant right here to cover up this box from this angle. But the hellebores are starting to hellebore, and look at how pretty those flowers are. This, I think, is the Ice and Roses variety. It is really pretty. My hands are very dirty. We have another one coming up right here. Then we have this darker variety next to it, and then another one coming up right there. As we come around here, you can see the spacing. We have this dead bush that we purposely cut out. That is where a wisteria vine is going to go. We're going to put a pot right there, and then the wisteria vine will come up and over the garage. But yeah, you can see right here kind of what this looks like from this angle. So there is our camellia, azalea, and mondo grass. I want to add more mondo grass and ring it around this edge a little bit. Typically it wants more shade as well, but I kind of want to test it out and test its limits up in this front area. It might not work, but we'll see. So yeah. So now let's pot up our beautiful azalea standard. We're going to be using this white ceramic pot. It is about a 12-inch diameter, which is perfect because the pot that it is currently in is only about 8 inches. So we're just gradually bumping it up in size and can choose to continuously graduate it up as necessary as the roots continue to develop and get larger and larger. So first, what we're going to do in our container is start with a really good potting mix. This is the Camellia and Azalea mix from EB Stone. Because azaleas and camellias, for that matter, like a slightly more acidic soil, it is best to use, especially in a potted container, soil that is specific to them, like this mix. We'll also be using our Azalea, Camellia, and Gardenia food in with that as well, and continuously be applying the fertilizer throughout. So let's get some soil in here. Now I'm going to apply a handful here of our food and mix it right into the soil. We have a little guest making an appearance. Nico, come here. This is Nico, everybody. He is my puppy. And I say puppy, but he's about 5 years old. I got him during COVID. He's a mutt that I rescued from the shelter. Okay, so we'll put our pot down in here, and then we'll continue to ring around with some more soil. So she is potted up and looking gorgeous. I can't wait to see for years to come her grow taller and fuller with more and more blooms. Now, to encourage all of that to happen, we're going to use the EB Stone, Azalea, Camellia, and Gardenia food that I mentioned. And I will read you exactly what the instructions state because that is what we are going to do. So for every 6 inches of pot diameter, this one's 12, apply 1 tablespoon. So we are going to do exactly that. 2 tablespoons for this since it is a 12-inch container, and it says to feed monthly spring throughout summer. So we'll start our feeding now. It's gotten its feeding initially, and then next month we'll do 2 tablespoons all the way throughout until the end of summer, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like October, November for us here. So now that we've gotten both azaleas planted up, let's go over some of the key things that you need to know to keep your azaleas looking great. So number 1 is these plants like dappled light. So if you can put them in a spot where they'll either receive morning sunlight or filtered light throughout the day, they will be happiest. Number 2, make sure that you are using the appropriate amendments in your soil, whether that be with your potting or in ground. You'll want to use a azalea potting mix or in-ground planting mix if you're planting in the ground. The EB Stone one that I used is for both, and it is a great option. The other piece of your amendments is your fertilizer. Make sure to keep up on a fertilization schedule for your azaleas. Again, I really like the EB Stone mix, and that has all the instructions on the back that you will need whether you're planting in a pot or in the ground. Really make sure to keep up on that fertilizer. Azaleas love an acidic, slow release fertilizer like the EB Stone one that I used. Next, pruning. So making sure to prune your azaleas is key. Right after they bloom, you can go in and prune up any leggy or not so aesthetically pleasing branches. This will keep your plant in the shape and growth habit that you're looking to keep it. Azaleas, like most plants, like moist but well-draining soil. So water your azaleas deeply about 2 to 3 times a week. Or if you have your plants on an irrigation system like a drip, you'll want to make sure that it is consistent, where the soil is moist, but it does not dry out, but you don't want it super sopping, soggy wet either. Now, one of the things that I like to do for potted plants in particular is I like to add a sheet moss over the top or even some sort of rock or mulch, and that retains moisture. In this case, I added sheet moss, and I think it looks so beautiful. I think not only is it going to do what I need to do in terms of retaining moisture, but it's going to be aesthetically pleasing as well. When you do cover your potted plants, be sure that you are not overwatering or underwatering. What you can do is just simply lift up your sheet moss, check the moisture level with your finger in the pot, and then either water or not as necessary. Number 5 is good care. So the proper care for these includes good air circulation, well-draining soil, and the occasional pest control. Some pests that might show up on your azaleas are going to be lace bugs or aphids. So you can treat these with neem oil or insecticidal soap. Just be sure to do this when your pollinators are not out and about. So that means early morning before they are out and pollinating plants, or later in the evening after they've all gone to sleep. And there you go, all the integral things that you need to know about growing azaleas. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you have your own tips and tricks for gardening with azaleas. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, Caitlin's Corner. You can follow me here on YouTube at caitlin.scarlets.corner or on Instagram with the exact same handle. I hope you found some inspiration for some winter/early spring blooms for your garden. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.